Jacobs is 32. Jacobs is the taller man, a full 6 feet tall. Canelo only 5'9". Canelo also very thick, but Jacobs coming in at 160 for the weigh-in and well over 173, maybe up around 180 in the 180s right now, since he weighed in at 173.6 at 8 o'clock this morning. Jacobs also has the reach advantage.
And the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, with his trainer, Andre Rozier. He's wearing black with red and green, officially weighing in at 160 pounds. His professional record, an excellent one. 35 victories, including 29 knockouts with 2 defeats. And he's a 2-time world champion from Brooklyn, New York, USA, the reigning, defending IBF Middleweight champion of the world, Daniel Miracle Man Jacobs. And across the ring, fighting out of the red corner with his trainers, Chepo and Eddie Reynoso, wearing white with gold, officially weighing in at 159.5 pounds. His professional record, 51 victories, including 35 knockouts. Only 1 defeat with 2 draws. He's a 3-division, 5-time world champion, the reigning, defending WBC, WBA, middleweight champion of the world, damas y caballeros, en Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, Saúl Canelo Alvarez.
Okay, let's get everybody. Okay, let's get everybody out. Let's go, everybody out.
Okay, gentlemen, caballeros, you already received your instructions. Usted recibió instrucciones. Okay, right here is good, anything that's low. Aquí está bien, aquí no. Right here is good, anything that's low. Aquí está bien, aquí no. I want a good, clean fight. You quiero una pelea limpia. Obey my commands at all times, above all, protect yourself at all times. Escúchame, cuídate, listos, ready, let's go.
Tony Weeks, 25 years of experience, and as you see with Canelo Alvarez there, Chris Mannix, with that knee brace on his knee.
Yeah, you'll notice that sleeve. He wore it in the Rocky Fielding fight. It's because of discomfort he's been feeling since he started training for Fielding. For this fight, he did the least amount of road work in his career. It's serious enough that Canelo told him he plans to have it checked out after this fight. But this is a fight where he's going to have to be mobile. Will his mobility be limited here tonight?
This is what it's all about. You just don't know. Middleweight championship of the world. Canelo Alvarez defending against Daniel Jacobs. Both men can box. Both men like to slug. They can brawl, or they can move. A lot of dimensions on both sides. Brian Kenny, Sergio Mora, Chris Mannix here ringside. Sergio, you've been in there twice with Daniel Jacobs. What are you looking for early on here in the first round?
Well, right now he's staying patient and poised with his elbows in. I notice his elbows are really in. Now, he gets powered by that, but I think he's doing that because he knows that Canelo is going to be looking at landing body shots.
Canelo in his last fight against Rocky Fielding just came through like a buzzsaw, but that was against a different level of competition in Rocky Fielding. He's also, though, at 168 pounds in the super middleweight division. Early on here, 1 minute in, and just a feeling out process, mutual respect from both fighters.
Neither one of these guys are huge volume punches either. They score their points on power shots, the both of them.
Both are methodical. Good jab work there by Daniel Jacobs. Gets in, touches him with a right hand. It's Canelo, though, with a hard right hand as he backs Jacobs up into the ropes. You see the size difference. Jacobs is the taller man, but there is just thudding power from Canelo Alvarez.
I like that stabbing jab that Jacobs is going downstairs with. It's a power stabbing jab to the Canelo's stomach.
Sergio, looks like both men are just trying to find distance at this point.
Both men are respecting each other, but they're keeping the fight in the middle of the ring right now. A lot of tension in the air, though.
No question. Jacobs trying to double up on the jab. Canelo with the answer. 2 minutes into round number 1.
Jacobs makes his way right back to the middle of the ring. That's where he wants to stay this entire fight. And rounds like these, where they're nice and quiet, Jacobs should look for trying to win the round with a combination or just jabs or something like that, because he needs to put these rounds in the bank.
Just by touching, right? If he can just touch him with the jab. And he seems to have that ability. Good body shot there. Jab to the head and then the right hand to the body from Canelo Alvarez.
If you can win a quiet round and put that in the bank, that's going to pay dividends if you're Daniel Jacobs, just like that.
Good body work there by Jacobs. You're absolutely right, Sergio. We could have a blockbuster 9th round. It counts just as much as this round. It could go in the books as 10-9, and that's it.
Jacobs told me this week he knows that Canelo's fast, but he believes he can be timed, and that's what he's going to be looking for.
Jacobs goes southpaw. He has that ability. He says he goes by the feel in the fight. Interesting round 1. Difficult to score. Difficult to find a winner in this round. Canelo's hands, Chris Mannix, they're fast and explosive.
They're extremely fast. He might have the fastest hands in the middleweight division. I thought he used that effectively when going to the body.
Round 2 scheduled, of course, for 12. It's the middleweight championship of the world. Interesting feeling out process. Chris Mannix, you're trying to score this fight. How would you score round 1?
I gave it to Canelo. More impactful shots, but an incredibly close round that could probably go either way.
Copy box stats, 4 of 20 for Canelo. 8 of 32 thrown for Daniel Jacobs. Again, I think the harder shots were landed by Canelo. Now they try to get a little physical. Forearm to the neck from Canelo Alvarez, keeping Jacobs away. And he is pinpointing that right hip, the left hip, Sergio, as well. If he can't quite get him to the body, he'll whack him on the hip.
Jacobs is looking to counterpunch. He's trying to catch and counter, but Canelo's not giving him that opportunity. Just too sharp, too fast.
Tries to come in with a hook right away. Feinted with the jab. Canelo looks confident, looks calm. Jacobs, though, has also found his rhythm in this fight. Hasn't been able to land too much. But again, this is what it is at the highest level. Good jab there by Canelo Alvarez.
Yes, it was. Stabbing jab to Jacobs' body.
And another one, and it drives Jacobs back. Got him off balance. Good jab again. These are scoring shots. It is something when you watch Canelo Alvarez, at times, good body shot there, wicked hook to the body of Jacobs, that he is able to box and just make a man miss. Just actually traditionally do, the defensive boxing stance and style.
They both try to counter to the body right there, but Canelo got the better of it.
Now they trade inside and Jacobs able to land.
Jacobs landed a good body shot himself right there, so it's give and take, both going back and forth.
Lots of drama here in Las Vegas. No fireworks as of yet, but it could happen as a right hand lands by Canelo and another. Canelo is consistent.
Stop.
He's defensively responsible. His punches are always tight and crisp. That is very difficult to deal with. Wow, great combination there by Jacobs. Answering as Canelo went for the hook again. Good straight jab by both. We are in chess match territory at this point, Sergio.
This is a chess match, but it's a dangerous chess match.
Both men ready to uncoil and launch. Final 10 seconds of round number 2. Interesting so far. Sharp jab by Canelo. Slides with a wicked uppercut. Interesting round number 2. Chris, how'd you score that?
I gave that fight to Canelo, that round, I should say, to Canelo Alvarez as well. One thing about Canelo, he's been on the positive end of a lot of close decisions in his career. Erislandy Lara, Austin Trout, Gennady Golovkin. Part of that is his shots are very easy to see. He's very accurate with his power punches, and that makes it easier for the judges to see it out.
That's an excellent point, Chris, because in that last round, in round number 2, as Canelo was landing a beautiful hook to the head, Jacobs landed a hook to the body. But what did I call? The hook to the head. It's easier to see, and it's also easier to see by the judges. Danny Jacobs moving to southpaw once again. What do you think of that tactic, Sergio?
It's a smart tactic because he fights really smart as a southpaw angle. He dropped me with a right hook with the southpaw angle, and he got Gennady Golovkin's attention as a left-hander too. So if he can get away with it, that's a good thing.
There's a hard right hand to the body on Jacobs, and you see when Canelo is able to connect, he drives the entire body of his opponent back.
Jacobs doing the smart thing right there is holding on.
I rarely see Sergio, good hook to the head and a right hand from Canelo. I rarely see a guy naturally right-handed, orthodox, turn southpaw and then have great success. It seems like, a gimmick most often. I rarely see a guy go, oh, that's beautiful, going back and forth. Do you see that often?
Well, I would do it just to give my opponent a different look, but I wouldn't really fight off that southpaw stance too long. But guys like Daniel Jacobs, they have the power and the speed to be able to punch and get a knockdown from that angle.
Yeah, but you have to be really disciplined. 4th round of the Golovkin fight, he switched southpaw, and that's when Golovkin caught him and put him on the canvas.
Good point.
Caught him a bunch of times too, and that, wow, strafing combination by Jacobs, beautiful. Jacobs with a nice explosion there. Midway through round 3. Jacobs, by the way, was once the golden child. Canelo is the golden boy now, but Jacobs was a national amateur champion, New York City Golden Gloves champion 4 times, bolted to a 20-0 pro record, and then the surprising KO loss to Dmitry Pirog. Shortly after that, the cancerous tumor on his spine, and his life was never the same, but he is back all these years later and fighting with a belt, by the way, but fighting for the middleweight championship of the world. He's been through a lot in his life. Good work to the body there, going in with the hook, digging in, and now Jacobs finding a rhythm.
Canelo blocked that right hand, but it's still effective. I'm telling you, Daniel Jacobs, even though you block those shots, he has that brute strength and that brute power. You still feel it.
And yet a lead hook from Canelo, which is extremely dangerous. Again, and if you're scoring this fight, I believe we have very good judges, experienced judges here tonight. Same judges that were judging the fight the second time around for Canelo and Golovkin. And they are going to have to try to total all of these shots up, the scoring blows. Another interesting championship round. Title and a fascinating fight so far.
Brian, you think Bernard Hopkins would have handed over a check for almost $1 million?
Oh my goodness. Not for 10 bucks. And if you offered him 10 bucks to lose a pound, he'd say, make it 20. Round 4. Hopkins, of course, owns the longest streak of title defenses at the middleweight division. One of the great champions, and you can trace the middleweight title from Bernard Hopkins right to Canelo Alvarez. Round 4, Sergio Mora, what would you tell Jacobs' corner? Like, what would you say that, hey, do this, and it might lead to more success against Canelo?
What he's doing now, he's jabbing. His corner must have told him to jab. I would like to see him paw at the jab with different timing, different speed. Jab the body as well. That's going to open up something because Canelo is walking him down now. He's looking to come around with a left hook.
It's a good point, too, because when Jacobs is jabbing, Canelo's offense is stunted. Yeah, and you're at least the other jab. Lots of jabs, nothing landed. However, Canelo is moving and not punching.
And it sets up right hands like that just barely miss. You can also throw that right hand downstairs, but the jab starts all that.
And look, that's good defensive work by Canelo Alvarez. There's no question. But if you can keep him from winging hard shots your way, you're gaining the advantage.
That was one of my big questions coming into this fight because Golovkin is a big jabber. Daniel Jacobs is not. Would he be able to do it consistently enough to keep this type of pressure at bay?
Over the top with the right hand. Tony Weeks with the warning.
Listen to me, here we go.
See, that's what I like to see from fighters. Jacobs hit him a little bit behind the head. Canelo didn't complain. He just returned the favor.
Yep. Both men are clean fighters, but you are fighting. Canelo tries to go up top, change his eye level, and then hits him on the hip again. I wonder if that's going to lead to a little less movement from Danny Jacobs later in the fight. You get that hip whacked on all night. Good, clean right hand from Canelo Alvarez.
Canelo just barely missed with a big right hook. Excuse me, right uppercut.
Good head movement again by Alvarez. The champion in fine form. Calm And moving forward and landing. He has his hands full.
Those are the power jabs that he landed against Golovkin. Those hurt. And if you could come around and get your opponent to bite, you can turn that into a left hook. That's exactly what Canelo's trying to do.
Jacobs trying to stay active. Slightly discouraged Sergio from just touching him with the jab because Canelo is moving his head so beautifully right in front of him.
Canelo has great head movement, and they worked on that recently. He doesn't need to move around the ring with his feet. His head movement has been brilliant in the last couple of fights.
This is fantastic defense in this round from Canelo, and he punctuates it with a jab. Look at him slip all these shots. The hardest thing to do in the ring, make the man miss.
That is a beautiful display of defense on Canelo's part there.
Wow. Carter and LeBron James and all the behind-the-scenes footage here on Fight Night, Championship Fight Night, round number 5, Middleweight Championship of the World. It has been fascinating so far. Canelo Alvarez with beautiful defense there in round 4. Chris, how did you score that?
I've got it 3 rounds to 1, 39-36 for Canelo Alvarez. His accuracy is the difference in some of these rounds, and his defense has been exceptional. Danny Jacobs just can't seem to get enough punches put together to make an impact on Canelo.
And Canelo continues just to slip punches beautifully. It's almost like an exercise in the ring, Sergio, when you say, hey, just slip and hit. Just make this guy miss. But look at this. He continues to do so. Floyd Mayweather style.
His head movement and waist movement has been exceptional. And you can tell they worked on that, but he's doing it while going forward. That's so hard to do. It takes confidence to do that.
And counter hooks as well, landing to the body. Hard hook as he advances. Trying with hooks as Alvarez starts to get into his rhythm.
Canelo coming forward, being defensive against a power puncher, trying to get foot positioning where he can land those explosive combinations.
Coming in, looking to slip, and then answer. And then he smells that advantage, and Jacobs, if he's not punching, he'll take the lead. We heard in the corner of Canelo Alvarez, Sergio, that they were telling him 2 punch combinations. 2 and that's it. We don't see more, just 2 at a time. Why would that be?
Well, because Jacobs is probably trying to land something in between, catch Canelo, who's the faster fighter, in my opinion, in between a shot. But right now, they're fighting for foot positioning. If you notice, if you look at their feet for a second, Canelo's inching his way in. The closer he gets in, that's when he can land the massive power shots.
Jacobs looking just to paw with a jab, and Canelo not bothering to slip those shots, almost as if, hey, if you're not going to really throw it, I'm not going to move. Interesting. Again, you can see the slipping, waiting to slip and counter.
See, right now, Jacobs is hesitant of throwing his power shots because he knows how crisp Canelo is countering right now.
Canelo touches him with a jab, gets Jacobs straight away, lands again. These are scoring shots. Not huge shots, but scoring blows are the name of the game if you're judging. Putting rounds in the book. Another sharp jab, and that landed as well from Alvarez, and a right hand from a jab. Going to the body with the jab.
And those are power jabs to the body, both of them. Canelo returned it with a left hook to the liver there, but those have a stinging effect. It looks like a simple jab, but they're power jabs.
That looked low. Daniel Jacobs landing right on the belt. Nothing from Tony Weeks. You get the sense that Daniel Jacobs is going to have to change this equation because this is Alvarez's fight.
Well, he started like this with Golovkin, so maybe he's looking to take this fight into the middle and later rounds.
Leave it that, hey, we just didn't quite do enough, right? You can box the rest of the way here, Sergio, and go through this fight and say, well, I thought we boxed well, I thought we deserved this decision, but you're not going to get it if you're boxing this way.
Beautiful instructions by Andre Rozier. You don't want to get beat by a little bit, just he did a little bit more. Stay behind the jab, and even if it's 1 punch, you got to do 1, 2, 3 punches after he's done punching.
So Jacobs would have to come out of his shell, he'll have to move again, have to change the equation somehow. Some CompuBox numbers through 5. Canelo outlanding Jacobs 60-43. And I would venture to say that the harder shots also being landed by the middleweight champion.
You know, we wondered coming in what style of fight Canelo Alvarez would take. And he's taking a lot of the same style that we saw against Gennady Golovkin, coming forward, being the aggressor.
Yeah, what Canelo has going right now is working. Methodical, stand right in front of your man, wait for the jabs, make him miss, occasionally explode and land. And he's he's winning these rounds. That hook touched Canelo Alvarez on the jaw.
See right there, Daniel Jacobs turned southpaw, and he missed that punch. That's the one that he caught me with. He dropped me with that punch. In between those shots, he turned southpaw, and you don't even know it, and the power punch comes from a left-handed angle.
Jacobs' corner had told us that they've seen Canelo fight several different styles in his last few fights, so they were saying, hey, we're going to have to initiate. We're going to have to go after him. We cannot wait and let him gain his rhythm.
See, there's Jacobs turning southpaw again. He's comfortable in that angle, and he has power with that right hook from that angle. And a southpaw with a right hook, I say it all the time, is the most dangerous thing in boxing.
So you would advise him to do that now? You think he could be more effective? Or you're saying slide back and forth and catch him in between?
Well, listen, I thought it was a bad idea when he did it against Golovkin, but he had success with that. And he, like I mentioned earlier, that's what he knocked me down with. So why not? Give him this different angle. Give Canelo something different.
Let's see if he has any success with that right jab. So far, that's really not much of a stick, Sergio, so far from Jacobs with that right hand. See, it's just more slapping from the right side, just not as strong, not as natural.
Yes, it's not as natural. It's not his natural position, but still has a lot of power, especially in that right hook.
Canelo stalking and throws a hard right hand when he got Jacobs in the corner. Oh, he could sniff that out, Sergio. You could see. He was right above us, and when he got Jacobs in the corner and he has him there again, he is ready to launch.
The thing about turning southpaw when you're not a natural left-hander is your defense is what suffers. You can punch from that angle, but your head movement's going to be a little bit behind. You have to be careful.
Lands right after the right hand from Canelo. Rounds going into the bank for the middleweight champion of the world. On this fight.
Absolutely. Demetrius Andrade, who owns the other piece of the middleweight crown, he's going to be on the post show as well. So a lot of good stuff coming up afterwards.
Daniel Jacobs comes out southpaw here in round 7. Chris Mannix, though, how do you have it scored so far? I'm saying Canelo is putting rounds in the bank. Do you agree with that?
I've got it 5 rounds to 1 in favor of Canelo Alvarez. I should say 3 of these rounds that I scored, asterisk, very close.
Canelo chasing Jacobs now, has him on the run.
And that's the thing, when you're not a natural left-hander, it's the defense that you're going to be falling behind with. You can punch from that angle, but defensively, that's where you're going to be in danger.
I just don't know if Jacobs has the stick, meaning just a strong enough jab to keep Canelo at bay. When Canelo, senses that you can't keep him out or you can't hurt him, he marches in. And you just cannot afford that. Much too much power from Canelo Alvarez. Jacobs stays left-handed.
See, that's what I want to see from Jacobs. You're not trying to land hard shots. You're just trying to touch him, and you're trying to keep your distance. Then you can land the big shots.
Canelo also with a good level of energy. I mean, we're in the 7th round. He's been able to conserve his strength. Complained there about the back of the head. They touch gloves and fight on. Jacobs very close there. Standing right in front of each other. Jacobs looks to open up.
Those are heavy body shots landed by Jacobs.
Jacobs looking for a better angle. Canelo, though, never really in any danger there on the ropes, looking to counter. But anything that changes the tide here has got to be something that's a little encouraging for Danny Jacobs. Jacobs lands with the left to the body, but it's Canelo who's stalking and looks to get him in the corner to hurt him.
Stalking and cutting off the ring with confidence.
Again, this is a champion in his prime. Canelo Alvarez has been a pro since 15. He's got 51 wins already. He's 28 years old. This is what it's like at the peak. He is peaking right now. He looks terrific. Another hook to the body. by Alvarez. Answers with a hook as well.
It seems like he's doing his better work when he switches to orthodox. The jab is better, the power is better. Curious to see how it happens in the second half of the fight.
I agree with you, Chris. And by the way, CompuBox backing that up. Jacobs landed 15 jabs in rounds 1 and 2, and just 15 jabs over the last 5 rounds. Sergio, it just doesn't look strong enough, as now we see Jacobs moves back to the orthodox stance.
If Jacobs wants to win this fight, he has to stay active as an orthodox fighter, because he's not active enough as a southpaw. He needs to throw combinations, stick behind the jab with power punches and speed.
We just heard from Jacobs' corner there. We had it mic'd up and you could hear it. Claudia Trejos was in Canelo's corner. Claudia, what did you hear there?
Asking Canelo to keep feinting, keep putting pressure, work on that shoulder. Oddly enough, they want him to throw more punches to the body and forget about the head, but put pressure, keep the pressure on.
Claudia, thank you. I just think Canelo looks terrific. Look, he's not going to walk through this guy. Danny Jacobs, world class. He has one of the belts, very experienced, very determined. But I think Canelo Alvarez looks fantastic right now.
Yes, he does. The head movement is the most impressive thing that I've seen so far. I mean, he's just so cool in there. Even when it looked like Jacob landed a big punch, he rolled with that shot. He just turned his cheek. He was so confident in there. I mean, he looks amazing defensively and offensively, Canelo does.
And for Jacobs, can he slap it into another gear? He knows this is the opportunity of a lifetime. He told us, I've continuously had to prove that I'm the best middleweight in the world. Now I have an opportunity to show it. Well, these are the rounds. He's going to have to change something.
In Daniel Jacobs' corner, his trainer Andre Rozier said, okay, we need to refocus. We need to stay behind the jab and dig down to that body.
Jacobs staying close now. That right hand was blocked. Trying to the body now in a combination. Bit of a flurry from Danny Jacobs. Good answer from Canelo. Now we mix it up. That hook landed by Canelo Alvarez. Snaps his head back again, but Jacobs is going to have to do something, and he might open himself up as well.
Like I said earlier, he has to get respect in order to beat this man in front of him, but you do not want to mix it up with Canelo on the inside.
Ooh, straight right hand by Canelo. Now to the body. But this is Jacobs' only chance. He's losing rounds. At least we believe he's losing rounds. So he has to stand there. He must do something different. But when he did, boy, Canelo looked dangerous. Exchanging hooks. Right hand missed. But Jacobs goes on the offensive.
Obvious shot that doesn't deflect off your gloves. I agree with you. Daniel Jacobs did some really nice things in that round, but those shots resonate that Canelo Alvarez is throwing.
How did you score that then, Chris?
I did lean towards Jacobs. The activity in that round made the difference.
Interesting in the corner for Danny Jacobs. Andre Rozier saying, hey, don't stick around if you're not punching. That's good advice.
It's great advice, because it's exactly what he needs to do. And here we see Daniel Jacobs turning southpaw again. He had success in an orthodox stance. Why turn southpaw?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't see that working at all tonight. By the way, both fighters landing a fight high in punch totals in that last round, in round 8. Canelo with 27, Jacobs with 15. Danny Jacobs telling us, hey, I can beat Canelo. Skill, range, my IQ, be effective in my aggression. But standing there right in front of Canelo Alvarez and boxing is not going to do it. Canelo is younger, stronger, and just fundamentally too sound. Hard body shot by Canelo while they exchange. Hard body shot there by Canelo again. So we heard from the corner, Claudia Trejos saying that they're looking for the body attack. That will eventually start to break down Danny Jacobs. Alvarez just so calm in this fight, not wasting any energy. He said he learned about dealing with these mega events 9 years ago when he was on a Floyd Mayweather undercard, Mayweather-Mosley. That was against Jose Cotto. He was there, he said he looked around, he was distracted. He knew immediately, whoa, I gotta focus. That was 9 years ago. He's had lots of practice, and you can see how calm he is. Wow, big shot by Jacobs. Snaps the head back by Canelo. He doesn't look hurt, but that certainly landed.
Canelo's the type of guy that's not going to show you he's hurt. He's too experienced, but that was a big shot landed by Jacobs. I'm positive that caught his attention.
That's the best shot of the night from Jacobs, no question.
And I believe he did it in that orthodox stance where he's had the most success.
I tell you, Alvarez could take a punch. That was a solid punch by Daniel Jacobs, and he took it well.
Yeah, flush across the face. No question here. Final 30 seconds of round 9. Something for Danny Jacobs to work off of.
But is that enough to win the round? That's the question.
Well, that is the choice. And like for fans who say, well, Jacobs won that round. Wait a second. You've got to score every second of every minute of every round. Glenn Feldman, Dave Moretti, Steve Weisfeld will do that. And that one, even 2 good shots from Jacobs don't necessarily give that round to the challenger.
That was incredible. That was a big shot too, but he took it well. I mean, this is a man that has the complete package. He could take a big punch.
Championship rounds here, round 10, middleweight championship of the world. Canelo Alvarez has looked outstanding. I thought Chris Mannix, very good points by Sergio on that last round and how you scored. How did you score that last round?
Yeah, I gave that last round to Daniel Jacobs as well. 87-84, Canelo Alvarez on my card.
Both exchanged hooks, both came up short, but from the southpaw stance, that's the punch that I said earlier dropped me. It was a right hook. He's going for it again.
Jacobs jumps right back in, trying to seize the initiative. Just touching him with that hook, but trying to get some power on it now. Whacks him on the hip again. This time, he's eaten a lot of shots there. This time, Jacobs able to hit Canelo on that left hip. Hard right hand. Canelo landed that. He was waiting for that. Shot it straight up the middle. If you look at Canelo's knockout reel, you see almost every type of punch. He can put you down with anything. Now back to jabbing, moving Jacobs back. Hit him with a hook, cuffed him with the hook. Now they exchange. Let's see if they let it fly. Sergio, at what point, if you are Daniel Jacobs, do you just let it fly and say, all right, I gotta go?
I think we're seeing flashes of that right now. There's a little change in Jacobs' bravado right now. He's standing a little bit in there. He's mixing it up. He's punching Canelo against the ropes. We're seeing the last hurrah here. We're letting it fly.
Right hands to the body and the head. Canelo fighting off the ropes with hard hooks.
And when he does that, Brian, it's shades of Canelo Golovkin 1, where he fought against the ropes, looking to time Golovkin coming in, not having as much success as he does it in this one.
Good body shots there by Jacobs. As we get into the final minute, half minute of this round, round 10. You know, at a certain point, we've seen it many times, you have to make a decision. Whether you're just going to fight the same way and lose, but lose on your feet, or get after it and try to take the man out. But if you do so, you put yourself in danger.
Yeah, good point, Brian. And I think we're seeing that with Jacobs. He started off the round throwing a lot of punches. He landed another big shot on top of Canelo's head. Canelo took it well once again.
Jacobs leaning in, missed with the left hand. In the home of Canelo Alvarez here in Las Vegas, all these fans, Mexican fans, Southwestern fans, and just boxing fans. If you're a fan of the sport, if you're a fan of sports, you have to really admire Canelo Alvarez. Handles himself beautifully in all these moments, gives you a tremendous effort every time out, and is the premier boxing of the age.
The good boy Golovkin getting a bad reception from fans here. Maybe we're seeing Golovkin turn into the bad boy here, maybe turn heel.
He's the enemy here, that's for sure.
Yep.
But you know these fans would love to see these two mix it up. If Canelo Alvarez can get past Daniel Jacobs. So far it looks like he will do that, unless Jacobs comes up with something dramatic. Just a matter of what can he do? What is he physically able to do now?
Look for Jacobs to look for something dramatic right here. There's a look in his face, and the last round was a good round for him too. So if he can have another big round here, maybe he can gain momentum. But is it too little, too late in the championship rounds?
Canelo still, again, with that stick jab. Good body work by Jacobs as he steps in.
It's a really good body shot there by Jacobs, but as we keep seeing, Canelo could take a big shot upstairs and downstairs.
That was right at the belt line by Jacobs. Tony Weeks with no warning there. Thought it was fine.
Power jab by Canelo. He's inching his way in right now. They're stepping on each other's feet. They're battling for foot position because that's where he's getting the power from. Canelo is.
Crowd getting restless here in the 11th round. If you're Canelo or in Canelo's corner, I think you're fine with this pace. You've won most every round. You could make a case. Chris Mannix, how do you have it?
I think it's close, though, Brian. These last few rounds, Daniel Jacobs has turned it on, lands some of the cleaner shots. As I mentioned earlier, I think some of the earlier rounds were close, so these scorecards might be a little surprising.
And Jacobs fighting good in the inside right here. He's having a really good 11th round. This is the first time Jacobs has been coming forward. Now he has Canelo against the ropes.
Moving in, still in the southpaw stance, but now moves orthodox. Canelo moving, and I would agree with you here, Chris. I don't agree with all. I think the rounds that you've given to Jacobs, it doesn't feel particularly close. You're scoring it, at least trying to here while you're also commentating on the fight, and that's difficult. But this is one of the few rounds that I think this looks like a Jacobs round. Just not a lot of answer back from Canelo Alvarez in this round, although he scores with a right hand. Here in the final seconds, Canelo perhaps a little gassed.
I would say Jacobs won like 3 rounds, and there has been about 2 close rounds. So if those close rounds did go to Jacobs, then maybe it can be a close fight like Chris.
12th and final round, middleweight championship of the world. Canelo Alvarez, Daniel Jacobs, Chris Mannix. How do you have it going into the final round?
I have a 106-103 in favor of Canelo Alvarez. I don't think Danny Jacobs needs to go for broke here because I think he could be up on at least one judge's scorecard. But he's got to come out and win this round decisively.
Renewed intensity here in the final round, no question. Whoa, winging a big shot. That's a slip. Jacobs trying for it. Slip there in the middle of the ring.
Time. Go over there. Give me a towel.
Tony Weeks going to try to drive that up. Jacobs slipping on that, also slipping from the sheer force and his own torque. Again, I give the guy credit, Sergio, that he's trying to do something. If it's a little desperate, well, there's a lot at stake.
A desperate man could be dangerous, and yes, at least he's going for it because there's not going to be any regrets. Say those close rounds were swayed towards Jacobs. One big round here or even a knockdown could maybe sway it his way, but I have it Canelo winning comfortably so far.
That's a good answer there by Jacobs. A little 2-punch combination to the body of Canelo Alvarez. Alvarez with a hook and then a 3-punch combination. Excellent action here in the final round. Right hand and an uppercut by Jacobs.
Really good uppercut by Jacobs.
Now he goes to the body. Daniel Jacobs picks it up. Fighting orthodox and fighting effectively. Answering is Canelo. Canelo Alvarez fighting with controlled aggression throughout this fight. Has a lot left in the tank, but he has poured a lot into the ring. He's trying to use it judiciously right now in the 12th and final round. Jacobs running out of time. Final minute of this fight. Uppercut lands by Canelo.
Very dangerous punch to throw if you're Canelo, especially if you're ahead in the scorecards like that, but that's how comfortable he is against Danny Jacobs.
That had the look of the uppercut where you hit it and you walk away because the man goes down, Sergio. Didn't happen here.
The uppercut is a high-risk, high-reward type punch.
Body shot by Canelo. Jacobs moves in. must know he needs something here. At the very least, needs to win this round. Final 30 seconds. High-level, championship caliber fight. It has not been a lot of fireworks, has not been a barn burner, but it's been an excellent championship contest. Final seconds. What's left? Daniel Jacobs touches gloves. He brought what he could, but Canelo Alvarez waves to the crowd in what looked like just an outstanding performance in a title defense.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of middleweight action, we go to the scorecards. The winner will be the unified WBA, WBC, and IBF champion. Dave Moretti and Steve Weisfeld both have it 115, 113. Glenn Feldman scores it 116 to 112. All three scores go to the winner by unanimous decision. Damas y caballeros de Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, now the unified middleweight champion of the world, Saul Canelo